recorded live from random secret studios all over the Delaware Valley.
I'm the capo. He's the prez.
And this is Sons of Ben, the pod. Adam, welcome back to Sons of Ben, the pod. How's your sequestradness going? I don't even think that's a word.
I was going to let you finish it, though. I've actually been kicked from the bunker. So the bunker has also been shut down. So I'm actually in my studio apartment in South Philly, and happy to be, healthy, stocked up with the booze as necessary and the essentials. I went with the baby wipes over the toilet paper, which apparently everyone else missed out on because the Malvern Wegmans had that for days, and so I stocked up.
So if you're a mother of a baby in Malvern and you're lacking supplies.
Me. That was me. I'm sorry, there was zero toilet paper on the shelves, but there were so many Charmin flushable wipes, so I had to make choices.
All right, and I'm going to try to not keep that memory, but or mental image in my head.
Transition from that one.
I do have good news for you. You can't see our guest, but we got a good guest for you. We got probably one of the best guests we've ever had, and that's saying a lot. And that's why I'm trying not to transition from baby wipes to this guest because I don't want him to leave.
Too late.
So our guest is a very special guest. It's the greatest head coach in Union soccer history, Mr. Jim Curtin.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to be on with you.
Hey, thanks for agreeing to this. I guess the being quarantined will make you do really stupid and desperate things like talk to us over the internet.
Nah, you guys are all good. It's always great hanging out with you guys, whether it's down at the stadium, which unfortunately is can't wait for the next time that is. But obviously it's always good to catch up with you guys, and most important at our club, the fans are the lifeblood. The Sons of Ben are key. So happy to be here, and let's get it going.
Yeah, well, like I said, we wanted to thank you again for coming on and just check in with you, make sure everything's good on your front, you and the family and everyone else. Everything's going as good as possible, I hope.
Yeah, it's unique times, I think, for everybody. There's uncertainty and a little bit of nervousness and the unknown can be challenging, obviously, for everybody. We were quite literally preparing for the home opener against San Jose, which feels like forever ago, and we're called off the field and we're told, we're not going to be playing a game, which was disappointing. But at the same time, I think everybody recognizes the seriousness of this and the importance of putting safety first and the human element of things. And yeah, it's been, as a head coach, a unique experience for me. It's not something I've ever gone through, this long of a layoff. But again, the priority of the players' safety, the fan safety is what comes first and foremost.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we, on a much smaller scale for the Sons of Ben, we were in full planning mode for everything. I mean, shopping for tailgate stuff and smoke bombs and everything else. And then we're like, wait a second, maybe we shouldn't hold off on the perishables and pivot this and we'll make an adjustment. And then the announcement came and you're like, wow. And there was so much more going on that we're like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I was so stressed out that week of just preparing for everything. And then I was like, man, that was really stupid of me being stressed out about buying hamburgers and hot dogs where something like this is going on. So it really lets you touch back to what's important. And that now, speaking of the players and everything, the whole world got turned on its side. Are you able to be in contact with any of the players, or do you have an outline on how everyone's doing, or do they check in with you, or is it just kind of like off season and you can't talk to anybody?
No, it's a great question, and I think we've done a very good job of having similar environments to this one right here, where we can now reach out to the players. We actually have been using Zoom to connect with the players. We'll have individual video sessions with them, but we also have team sessions where we're working with goalkeepers and defenders are one group, midfielders are a group, and the strikers are in the last group, and we'll go through and still show film of upcoming opponents. While we can't predict exactly what team we're going to be playing against, we've started to try to pick them off. We did San Jose, for example, last week. We did Nashville, which, again, the hope was to return May the 10th. Will that happen? I don't know. I don't have that answer, but our next opponent after that would be Nashville. So we've started to scout them and show the players video of them. So again, you're trying to keep them busy. Most important though, it comes down to the human element, connecting with these guys, seeing them face to face. I think people sometimes tend to forget we have players as young as 16 years old and as old as 35 and from 12 different countries all over the world. Some of them are here alone. Some of them don't have family and have a support system. So their head's spinning right now. So again, just to have the visual contact. It started with I reached out to each of them via FaceTime and we talked over that. And then it progressed into these coaches meetings on an individual level with some film, but really, just checking in and seeing how they're doing. And then it's kind of progressed into, okay, we do have a lot of downtime here. How do we put some normalcy, some routine back into this thing? Just like everybody else, they're creatures of habit. They're used to their routines during the week, and we tried to implement some of that with some film sessions. And they get individual plans every day in terms of the physical workload that they're doing. So each day they get a daily fitness plan, and they're required to go through that and work on that part of things. So we're staying busy as best we can, but again, I don't want to stress and prioritize the game of soccer over what's going on right now in the world, because that's the health and the safety of everybody is what is priority number one. But man, we were ready to go though for the home opener. Man, I can tell you the guys were, coming off of the LA game and having the confidence that they did, and knowing that we were going to be in our stadium at Subaru Park with you guys behind us. Just like everybody else, we were really ready to go, and now it's a big, obviously wait till that time, and we know it's still going to be special when it comes, and we still can't wait for that home opener. Might not be till the summer, but we're excited for when it comes.
That was tough for us. That was tough because I was right there. I mean, like a lot of us had that, especially on a Sunday night, that crisis of, are we really staying up for this whole thing?
Yeah.
Are we really gonna especially? And it's like, you get an opponent like LAFC, like we played them well in the past, but you're just like, all right, we're setting ourselves up for this one. And then that first Santos goal goes in, and you're just like, all right, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm gonna be up for this all night. And to have, which was honestly an instant MLS classic right there between those two teams, was great. And I had so many friends who were either stayed up by accident and caught this game, or just caught the highlights in the morning and said, "This our team?" And I was just like, "This our team." And they were like, "All right, I'm here. Let's what's up? What's next? Let's get the party going." And then to just kind of have that come screeching down, that was a lot of momentum coming right into the home opener there. Honestly, that was
was Adam. I agree, Adam, too, because I mean the amount of calls that I got on after that game from different players in the league, from different coaches, just really enjoyed watching us play and the way the guys went after it. And I think they did our fans proud, I think, that night, and it got everybody excited for what was supposed to happen the next week, and it didn't, which is unfortunate. But again, I think it's an exciting group. I think we're just getting going, but it's a group that I think the fans will fall in love with again. I think this offseason, I know it was a long one, and everybody's waiting to finally have this moment of having the home opener. So there's a lot of build-up excitement, and to have that not happen was really difficult, but it'll make it that much more special, I think, when it does. I think sports now, bring people together in a different way, and I think we're all kind of realizing that even more now as we have this downtime. I mean, God, I think I saw ostrich racing today on, you know what I mean? And you got me, at least perked my head up, and I looked at it. Just the competition and not having that day in and day out is something that's unique for all of us.
So have you been doing any trend-setting binge watching like the rest of us? Have you seen anything on the flicks that would never look at?
Of course, and that's something we touch when we do touch base with the players too. That we keep it lighthearted at the very beginning. We'll ask what they're watching on Netflix. Obviously, everybody's in on Tiger King.
Yeah.
Which
Then I have to ask
stumbled
you.
in early on that, and it's obviously it's an insane story.
Do you think that lady killed her husband and fed him to the tiger?
I think that lady is an evil human being for sure. but I also think I think he's alive. I think he's in Costa Rica. I think he's just living it up. They got to do a Netflix on that guy, honestly. I just saw they reopened.
That's the real story.
Yeah, I just saw they reopened the case on him too because of the documentary. So I don't know. You could honestly, that's one of the few shows that I've seen where you know, you could do a Netflix on at least 8 of the characters. You know what I mean? Like,
There was a follow up on the toothless guy because he was angry that they didn't show him with his new teeth.
I
There
mean,
was like follow up interviews. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! This is," and
I
I
mean, the
can't keep
dude.
my eyes
How
off of
about
it.
how about he doing the whole thing with no shirt on? I mean, there were so
Oh,
many things. How about the mom and the sister crammed into the
the
mini
little
couch,
settee.
like stuck to? You're like, what's going on? It was.
Oh,
I mean, the funeral. How about the funeral? Like, you could break down that funeral, and he's literally singing like
oh,
the innuendo. It's like it's incredible, and the mom's there, and it's like, what is going on? It
I
was
just hope
a
when
train
I
wreck.
pass away, somebody puts a monument of ATVs and scooters and stuff up in my memory. Like I want that outside of Subaru Park, where it's just four wheelers and empty beer cans and everything as a memorial statue.
The
Look,
sad thing is, though, we laugh at it, but that is our country, man. Like, that's
that's
the
us.
other scary
That is
thing.
us.
That's the scary thing. You get out there, and it's real, you know.
Oh,
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
pretend like Doc's safari is not only blocks away from my beach house in Myrtle Beach. I'm gonna only pretend
Adam,
like
we're
I
doing a
haven't
road
driven
trip.
Doc's
by it
an
often.
interesting one. Did you see? I could go on for hours on this guy. Theo Vaughn just had Doc. Doc was on Theo Vaughn's podcast just recently. I listened to that. That guy's insane too.
Well, we just
He
saw
might
the
be the
videos.
only remotely normal person of them all, and that's the irony of all of this. Like he's
Yeah,
insane, and he might be the only
yeah.
No, the
sane-ish
drug dealer.
one.
The drug dealer was the only
Actually, it's
sane
true.
person.
That's true. That's
What
actually
about
very true.
the poor girl who lost her arm to the tiger? She actually seemed sort of normal too. Like she was actually. I'm like, yeah, I kind of. She
Yeah, I
speaks like
lost my arm. I just
logically.
got back to work because I make $150 a week. Sure, let me go back there. Yeah,
She
5
just
days
seemed
later.
normal though. Man, that was a wild one. But yeah, they're in on that. The guys have all talked about watching that. They're big on All Americans. I haven't seen it. I heard it's good. I haven't gotten into that one yet. But yeah, I'm watching a lot of stuff with my kids. I'm teaching them some of the old classics. Like I was nervous. Like some of them don't translate. Like Spaceballs kind of didn't hit.
yeah, that
That was a
doesn't. Well,
miss.
I tell
I
you
was
what,
like, man, this was the funniest thing I've ever
You
seen when
got
I
to
was a
start
kid.
with Blazing Saddles if you're
Blazing
going
Saddles.
Mel Brooks. If you
Yeah,
hit them over the head with Blazing Saddles, everything else is fine after that.
they
well,
actually did. I forced Naked Gun, and they actually loved the Naked Gun. That was
Oh, that's a
good.
classic.
That
you
was
That's
good.
a
So
you
classic.
might
again,
want to
like, yeah,
play the old school Red Dawn with Swayze and say this is under educational. You can do that as
Rodents.
homeschooling.
that's funny. But yeah, no, we're dialed into some different movies. I'm in a lot of the same stuff everybody else is watching, Ozarks and different shows like that. So yeah, I'm a
Well,
big. I mean, I've rewatched The Wire again. There's a lot of downtime, but all the classics are still the classics.
yeah. So, well, speaking of, we got into Tiger King and how that is America, and it gets strange when you really leave the major metropolitan areas. I wanted to get in your background coming from
Yeah,
I believe it's the home of One Traffic Light, Orland, PA.
one we got three. There's 5 bars, but there's 3 traffic lights.
So
That is
No,
five bars,
amazing.
three traffic lights, and that translated to Villanova, correct?
yeah. So originally Glenside, which was right. I moved about a mile and a half to Orland, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and then yeah, stayed. I went to Bishop McDevitt High School. Stayed local. Went to college at Villanova. Played for Larry Sullivan, who was a great mentor for me. A guy I learned a ton from. We didn't have the best team during my years at Villanova, but I still learned a ton from him. Was lucky enough to get drafted by Chicago. Played there for 8 or 9 years, and then out to LA for the Chivas USA for 2 years. And then called it a career after that. And again, I know everyone laughs when they hear Chivas USA, but we actually, if you go back and look it up, we had for 2 good years there. We had a good team. Made the playoffs both years and
Look
second
at
in
what
the
they
Supporters
evolved.
Shield. So no, it,
Yeah.
it got
Yeah.
embarrassing. Don't get me wrong. It was
No.
you want to talk about a Netflix documentary? They should do one on that whole club. You could do a great one on that. I saw some things there. That was wild. That was wild times. But we
I
were
can.
the Clippers to the
That,
Galaxy's Lakers. That
that's what
was
I was
the way
gonna
it felt.
say.
It
That you were
was
the Clippers of MLS. That was a really and like Clippers were in like the Darius Miles years of the Clippers
yeah.
too.
like quite literally when I showed up the first day, the players had kind of warned me, and they had big players there. Like they had, Jesse Marsh was there, Ante Roswell. They had good players. There are a lot of guys that are coaching in the league now, and they're like, "You'll see, man. From the lot, we had like the auxiliary locker rooms, like that were like basically for the referees was where we were, and then they had the training field we were on was literally the deep far corner, tucked away. People don't even know it's there when they go to the Home Depot Center. It was tough, but we had a good little team, and yeah, we made the most of it for sure. The underdog.
So you went from auxiliary lots to then beginning your coaching career coaching on public lots.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, I started. I mean, if you rewind, I finished it early at age 30, and I could have probably chased it in the league for a couple more years, but I was at a point where I had kids, and I didn't want to travel around the country and continue to be a little unfair to my family, just because they had sacrificed so much for me during the course of my the career that I had. So we drove back from from LA to Philly. Um, this
Wait,
is
how
home.
many kids at the time in a car from LA to Philly?
Sorry, we didn't drive. I don't
Oh.
make that sound rough. Came back, I should just say. Came back. We flew. But it was just one at that time.
Okay, because that
Yeah,
was going to be a
3
new
now.
Netflix series, you know?
Yeah, that would be rough. Yeah, sorry, sorry, I didn't make that clear. But no, once we got back to Philly, initially I had hoped to play for the Union. Obviously, Peter Novak was a former captain of mine at my time in Chicago. I won't bore you with that story, but things didn't work out, and I wasn't able to even get a tryout really. So in a way, it was a blessing because it started my coaching career early. I dove right in, and when I say working with kids that were quite literally 18 months to 5 and 6 years old, it was pretty humbling. I went from playing in a playoff game against David Beckham to coaching 5 and 6 year old kids at a program that was being run at the time. It was at where Starfinder is in Philly.
Oh, Manioc.
Yeah, Manioc, right in Manioc. So yeah, dude, I remember I had a moment where I'm sitting in the goal. And the kids are playing a little game that we had, and they're blasting balls at me, and I got my hands on my head, and they're kicking balls at me, 5-year-old kids, and I'm kind of going, "How the hell did I get here?" It was a humbling one,
That was your
but at
record
the
scratch moment.
same, yeah,
It's
exactly.
like you might want to understand how I got in this place.
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah, exactly. It was, to be honest. And then, from there, though, started at YSC Academy, which was where the Philadelphia Union Youth Academy was in its infancy. I met Ian Monroe there, and learned a ton from him. And kind of progressed through, got a job with the 14s, coached basically every age group of the academy, at different times, but had some success with the U18 team that went on and won the Generation Adidas Cup. And then at that point, I think Peter had been on the way out. Hack became the head coach. I started doing some scouting for him. Eventually, he became the assistant there. And then, like many coaches, kind of came into the job not the way you want to. John lost the job, unfortunately, and I had the opportunity as interim coach, and we won some games and did enough, I guess, to keep the job. And I'm fortunate to be able to coach in my home city. I know you guys already know that story. For in professional sports, this is going on my sixth season, which is a long time, and I don't take that for granted. I'm grateful for that every day, and I love every second of it. And this kind of stuff, interacting with the fans, it's surreal to me because this is, again, no, it's an old story, but it's where I'm from.
No, and we love it, and it's great because you coming in, you kind of knew us, the fans, what you were going to get, the good, the bad, the
Yeah,
ugly. Um, and when you came in, it was like, wow, what is this team? What are we doing? And I even have a question in here, like, for your coaching, what coach from your past or coach you worked with you think, you know, inspired you the most, or you learned the most from, or who you want to emulate the most? Like, I'm assuming it's not like a Peter Novak and a crazy Polish guy, but is it what coach or player or someone in the coaching that you think you kind of take the most out of? Are you modeling your life out of Chip Kelly, or
No.
somebody else?
No. Look, I think even back to the good, the bad, the ugly comment about our fans. I still, and this isn't just Union fans. This is the Philadelphia fan in general. I still get like upset and angry when they say bad fans or unfair fans. I think that our fan bases are probably the most reasonable and knowledgeable and loyal. So it's like if you just give everything, it's a town that, God, we still love Aaron Rowan just because he ran into the wall outside. You know what I mean? Like in center field. So again, when people call us bad fans, are there some idiot fans that kind of ruin it for everybody? Absolutely, but that's always the 1 to 5% of guys who call into 610 and they're still, I don't know. They're mad at the world in a way. So I think that the normal Philly fan is one that I think you have to earn your respect from. But once you have it, I think that they're fair. So I don't agree with that we're bad. I don't think it's a fair, and I think it's something we have to ditch too. It's like, I don't want to rant too much about it, but you guys, I feel like we're just like we're supposed to hate New York, and I think our city's evolved in so many different ways that it's like we don't even think of New York really. Like, we're ourselves. We have our own restaurants. We have our own scene. We have great places to live in the city. It's safe. We've moved past that. I think there's still an old school mentality that's stuck in that time, but Philly's a great city, man. Culturally, the restaurant scene, the sports fans that you guys talk about. We have everything here. Shoot, a lot of my New York friends moved down here now because the cost of living is incredible. So yeah, it's an awesome time to be in Philadelphia in sports. And now I'll get to your question on the coaches. No, but I've had a lot of influences coaching wise. In the MLS, certainly Bob Bradley is a guy I learned from. He coached me in Chicago. I am part of that kind of tree, and it's tough to always escape that, I guess you would say. Not that I want to, but you kind of get pegged in with those guys. This offseason I went to Red Bull Leipzig, and another close friend that I played with for 9 years, Jesse Marsh, coaches there. So I learned a lot from him as a player and as a coach. I think you take things from all different coaches, though. Even at the pro level, I'll study what Jurgen Klopp says in a press conference, or how he maybe man manages, or I'll read books on Jose Mourinho and the good things that I like that he does, and also maybe not to do some of the other things he does, whether it be with the press or with his players, or how he comes off. So you're always trying to study and steal different ideas. I think it's healthy too to pick the brain of coaches in other sports. I have friends that coach in basketball. I have friends that coach in football, maybe not professionally, but still just to learn different ideas of what they're doing. And I don't believe you have to have played the game at a high level to be a great coach. I'm not from that school of thinking. I think that's a closed-minded, stupid way of thinking, to be honest. And I can go walk up to a high school field and watch a high school coach run a training session, and I could learn a ton from that. And I could take something that he did and steal it and use it in my training session the next week. So I think you have to be, I guess the word would be organic with how you approach things, and take things in, and always be trying to move forward and be a little bit more progressive. I'm not like this dictator coach that says it's my way and this is the only way, and I don't rule by fear. All my players, they all have my number, and they text me, and we're open that way. I think that's kind of how you have to be these days, just because the players are different than they were in my day. You could also get away with a lot more in my day if you think back to, gosh, some of the stuff we did at Wrigley Field hanging out in the bars. There was no cell phones, so nothing was recorded back then. And now, the players are just different now. They have to be they're almost a walking brand in a lot of ways, and they have to really be wary of that. So I'm open to a lot of different coaches. I do like, he's no longer coaching right now, but Pochettino, the way he ran Tottenham, whether you like Tottenham or not, I
Oh,
think
you just got Devin all
Yes.
excited.
yeah.
Yes.
You have
I-
to respect, yeah, you have to respect what he did in terms of punching above, above their weight and getting to the Champions League and the runs that they made in league with maybe not spending the most. It's relatable, something that. How do you get the most out of your players each and every day in training? It's a challenge for any coach. So he's one that I emulate and aspire to be like. But I certainly have aspirations to go on to hopefully coach someday in Europe at the highest level. That would be ideal. But I'm quite happy here in Philadelphia, and I'm really enjoying my time.
So before we get off the topic of coaching, I really wanted to go back because a lot of players have that moment when they knew when they wanted to coach, and throughout your career, sometimes it's after your career, sometimes it's while your career is still going, you make the decision of, eventually one day you want to be a coach. So I just want to know if there was like that one moment where you were like, okay, I want to get into
Yeah.
this after my career is over, I want to get into coaching, or was that after your career was over?
No, that's a great one. And again, I'll go back to my time in Chicago. I can like pinpoint it exactly. It was my first year. I was a 21-year-old rookie that literally came off of like spring break with Villanova and basically was drafted and barely made the team. So that first year was just a blur. I was 21. I was dumb and just. My wife worked at a bar at Wrigley. My now wife worked at a bar right by Wrigley Field, and it was a whirlwind, and I was probably out a little bit too much. But that second year, um, in Chicago, I can remember the film session, and it was, God, Risto Stoichkov was involved. Jesse Marsh was there. Chris Armas, who now coaches the New York Red Bull. Zach Thornton's coach at DC. Josh Wolf was in the log. You had all these guys that just thought like coaches already, and I was kind of God, it sounds crazy, but I was the young one in the group, and I was kind of looking around, going, okay, these guys aren't this detail oriented just because they want to win on the weekend. They definitely want to win on the weekend, but they also want to be involved in soccer after the career. I'll be blunt with you guys. We were making no money at the time, also in the league. Like I was making, as a rookie, I was making 24 grand. I'm not insulting anybody if that's a lot or a little money, but as professional athletes, you're making 24 grand a year. Some of them were getting paid more, but it was like, you were always thinking of what is next. And I could see these guys were thinking long term, like coaches, whether that be professionally or college or whatever, down the road. And that kind of clicked my second year in the league with them. And it's not because of me, so I don't want to take credit of it. I want to say that it's because of the environment. Like so many things, I was lucky to be in an environment with those guys that kind of made it that way. Much like you guys make our atmosphere in our stadium as crazy as possible, and you can create that, and you guys know what it feels like even more than I ever will. It was the same thing. I got lucky. I walked into this environment where it was like, okay, this is where I want to be. This makes sense, and this is what I want to do. And we pushed each other a lot. In our training sessions, there'd be fistfights. Like I tell our guys now, like, God, our training sessions were brutal. We killed each other every day, and the games became the easier part, just because we got after it so well. And I try to recreate that, maybe minus the punches and stuff, but I'm trying to recreate that now in Philly.
Yeah, no. I totally agree with you on the two parts. One, that you don't need to be a high level player to be a great coach,
No.
just because I think you need to be a student of the game, and sometimes great players can't translate. Like I don't think a LeBron James could just sit there and go, "I don't understand. Just go up and dunk the ball. I do it all the time."
Yeah,
So
it
it's hard
happens a
for
lot.
yeah, it's hard for great athletes to really be students of the game because they're so gifted at it. And then the other point was your comment on City, on the city. We talk about it all the time. I mean, I have a complete love affair with this city and how much it's evolved over the times. And I think the sports has been a big part of that. With that, we we we've got great facilities now that we're playing in. We've got
Yeah.
teams that people can be envious of all across the board. I mean, Adam was already saying that the Flyers were going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
They were.
Uh,
They
so
were,
They
yeah,
were. Like
poor
that.
Flyers, man. I feel bad for them right
The,
now.
like
They
the
were
Yeah.
Six,
so hot.
yeah, the Sixers were gonna like flame out in the playoffs, but the Flyers were definitely gonna win the cup. That was a foregone conclusion at this point.
Flyers, they were playing
yeah.
well.
So
Yeah, that the stoppage hurt them probably the
Oh yeah.
worst.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So it's like I totally agree with you on those 2 points. But I did have a question. How many sporting directors have you been through?
Oh
With the
man.
union, I mean, not in your lifetime.
So I mean, it depends. The titles can change, but I can basically say who was running the show. For sure, obviously Nick Sakevich would be one.
Right.
We had Rennie Muhlenstein was involved.
Oh,
People
I
might forget
forgot
that
about
one
that.
for a little while. You had obviously Ernie Stewart was also involved, and then Ernst. So that was four. I had 4 and 5 years, you would say, one way or another. And look, I learned from each and every one of them. Same thing as the coaching story that I had. Uh, no one's perfect, and I'm not the perfect coach, but I think you have situations where you can learn from each of the different people. Everybody had a different view of things in a way. Using even Ernie and Ernst, the most recent ones, as the example, you want to talk about um, totally different philosophies. Ernie loves to have the ball. That's his way of controlling the game is through possession and dominating. And Ernst is the exact opposite. He wants the opponent to have the ball because he sees that as an opportunity to turn them over and punish them on any mistake that they make. So you can take little things, and it's not to say one's right or one's wrong. It's basically that's the beauty of soccer, and the philosophies change, the personnel can change, but I was lucky to get both of their input because both of them do it at the highest level, and you can take little things and utilize them and implement them on the field in your coaching. And yeah, now you basically have a you know something extra. What's the word? An extra, I don't want to say bullet because that's I don't want to do any gun
No,
references,
no.
but you know what I mean. You have something else you can go to in your back pocket.
Yeah, you have an extra tool in your toolbox that
Exactly. There you go.
you
That's
can
what I
use.
was looking for.
There we go.
While
Yeah,
not
and
using a
it's funny
weapon.
because you talk about how many sporting directors and then, how many coaches and everything. And I think as a Union fan, that's where I would reference the good, the bad, the ugly, because as a fan, we got so frustrated with first 2 years. We're like, this is great. And then we're like, what is going on? Why can't we have a uniform, a clear path of what's going on?
Why can't we
And
have nice things?
yeah,
Is
Yeah.
the question. That's
and
basically the
then
laments of all of that.
Ernie comes and kind of stabilizes the ship. And some people were still frustrated with how stringent Ernie was with things. And then Ernst comes in, and you're like, holy crap! And then we have these last season, and you're like, this is what it's supposed to be like. We're supposed to have nice training facilities, fields, and a plan of attack and academy players and everything. But I had a question for you, and I'm trying to figure out the best way. But like, I want to get your thought process on how much the MLS has transformed, because we always joke we call it MLS 1.0, 2.0, 2.5, 3.0. I don't even know where we're at, but from your day as a player to coming in and coaching the little 14-year-old, 15-year-old kids, which probably Zach Pfeffer might have been one of those kids, to now that we've got a kid like Brendan Aronson or even his brother that's
Yeah.
coming up the academy ranks like a bullet. Like, how has this evolved? And just I wanted to get your overall impression of this evolution of 25 years of the MLS.
Yeah. It's going to sound cliche, but I never thought it would. The game of soccer as a whole in this country, I did not think would reach the heights that it's at right now, where you can now wake up on a Saturday morning and you can watch the English League, the Bundesliga, and then watch 3 MLS games in a row. I never thought that would happen. I'm from the generation of, again, I'm only 40. I don't want to sound like I'm like 60 years old or anything, but you would literally have to go to the UHF channel 48 to find like the one Italian league game that was like the snowy channel, like you could barely see it, and it was in Italian, and that was the only soccer you could find, and I loved it. But God, I mean, and then to play in the league, look, I can tell you point blank, there was my second year in the league that I talked about. The league contracted down to 10 teams. One owner owned 6 of the teams. Phil Anschutz owned 6 of the 10 teams at a time. So when I talk about like in the locker room, we're all looking around going, this isn't going to last, is it? So everybody always had in their mind that, you know, what's next. What's the next job in case this league does fold. So it was on life support. I give Phil Entries a lot of credit for keeping it going. With the amount of teams that he was owning at the time. But now to see the production level of the broadcast, even how much further that's gone. I played at a Division III football stadium in Chicago while they were renovating Soldier Field called North Central College, and you put on. I show some of my kids those games, and you're like, it looks like trash. It looks poor. There's good players on the field, but the production value is so bad. And now you turn on Fox and ESPN, and the build up to the games. You see the full stadiums, the supporter sections are going crazy. The soccer specific stadiums are beautiful, and they keep getting better. The training facilities that you guys touched on, and the money, quite honestly, that's being put into it. Real smart people, billionaires in this country, are investing in MLS as owners, and then also in the advertising, and they don't lose. I'll just put it that way. Those guys find ways to invest in things that are going to be successful, and that permanence now that MLS has is a really, it's a strong thing. And yeah, the league's grown a ton in my lifetime, and I'm really excited for what it means for the future. I think we will get to a stage where MLS is a league of choice. I think we're still a little bit of ways off. I'm not naive in saying it's going to happen in 5 years or anything like that, but soon, real soon, I think that top players in the world, great American young players, are going to aspire to stay here and play in this league, because I think it's going to get that good. There's great jobs in coaching. There's great jobs in sports performance. Psychology is all improved. The attention to detail, nutritionists, everything. It's really grown exponentially, and the opportunities now for soccer in this country they're real, man. And it's not just me that's saying it. It's every foreign guy that comes to this league now, and coaches and plays in it. They go, wow, it's impressive, just the infrastructure that we have.
Adam, did you hear that Jim just leaked big news?
What I do.
He just said that Christian Pulisic is going to come back to his
Oh,
hometown
yeah.
team. He's going to leave our beloved Chelsea, but come back to play for the Union.
Well,
Did you-
I don't know if you heard that. I
wait,
heard
did
that.
did you see? I forget who put it out, but I think it was like one of the MLS Twitter handles that does fake parodies and all that. And they did a parody of MLS 35, and it had I think 32-year-old Christian Pulisic, captain of the Philadelphia Union, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay.
He had a cup of coffee in our academy. He played in that Generation Adidas Cup. So yeah, look,
Exactly.
he would love to. He would love to come back at some point. I'm sure.
We get Hershey Messi and Medford Messi on the same squad. That's too much of an ambitious crossover.
So I think Jim's also saying he's got his Christian cell phone number. So next time we go to London, Adam, we can get good seats at Chelsea.
Yeah, you guys can start to lay the groundwork for sure.
Look, we'd be the only people on Stamford Bridge with good seats, since that place is
This is one of those.
That stadium is.
It's one of those things where one of the Twitter accounts picks it up and is like, Philadelphia Union interested in Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
The wrong stuff.
Oh man, but no. Now, see, I'm sure you didn't know this, Jim, but we recently had the only Ring of Honor player in Union history on the podcast. In fact, he was our last in studio guest, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
he was there the day they canceled the NBA. Like the Sixers played the Pistons that night, and then they canceled the NBA.
Yeah. So Seba was in, and then we basically were asking him, out of the three coaches he played for with the Union. So it was Peter, Hack, and you. I said, who's the best dressed? And he was just laughing, and he said, you were the best dressed, but that as a player, he never really noticed what the coaches were wearing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you didn't look at Peter Novak in his baggy sweatpants and go, dude, what are you doing? Put some pants on or something. Or he said he never really noticed. So my question is a two-part. Do you as a coach notice what your players pull in when they're, coming off the the bus or whatever to get ready into their uniforms, do you notice who dresses well and who doesn't? I mean, a guy like
Absolutely,
Marisa
yeah.
do, yeah. And do you like take the other guys be like, yo man, we got to help you out. This is do you like go, hey Casper, you're not in Eastern Poland anymore. We've got to get rid of the denim shirts.
No, for sure. I'm aware of all that stuff, man. You kind of have to be. You have to have an idea what they're doing on the field. Obviously, I see that every day, and that's clear for me. But off the field, when you're trying to build culture and you talk about it, a word that gets so loosely thrown around and teams brag about how good their culture is. I think if you don't get to know them that way and recognize what they're into, which guys like Yeezys, which guys like Air Maxes, you know what I mean? I think that stuff matters, man, because again, I'm I'm old to them for sure, and I'm not cool. I can't be cool to them. That time has passed, but I can at least be aware of what they're into and what is new, and at least try to learn and have some banter and talk about that kind of stuff. But for sure, man, I'm aware. I know who dresses good on our team and who has no idea what they're doing. That's for sure. I'm
Do
All
we-
aware
right,
of
so
it.
Yeah,
let's
we
hear
get
it.
any
Who's the
names
here?
best and who's the worst of this roster?
So a guy that man, so current roster, or you're saying like all
Current,
time?
current,
Okay,
Yeah,
because
current
current.
all
roster.
time's got to go to a do. We know that.
Yeah, well, obviously the guys who have the most money are going to be the best. They're going to wear the best gear,
He
So,
would
so there
anger me
almost has to
because
be,
he
there almost
would
has to
wear
be a
stuff.
scale.
Yeah, he would wear stuff that I'm going, no man should wear that, but damn, you look good wearing that. And it would
No,
just get me. Like, we go to those charity events and he'd wear a suit, and I go, only you and the Joker from the Batman cartoons can pull that off and look good.
he's a
And I was just
beautiful
like, I
man.
just,
No, he's just a beautiful man as a whole. That's what helps the fashion with it. When you're a beautiful person, the
That's
fashion
also
works with
true.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
saw that is true. I saw Mo and Pontius right after the LAFC game. They came to that game, and yeah, like you guys just described, Mo was looking sharp as always. Decked out. But yeah, he's got the high end taste for sure, which is
Oh, yeah.
it's a good thing.
So, current roster.
Okay, current roster. Well, first of all, I'll make the comment. Look, obviously, as the coach, I know how much money the guys all make, so there has to be a little bit of a fair scale. Like, and some of them don't make a lot of money, but they're rolling in $1,000 sneakers, and I know that. And I'm kind of going, yo,
Hey.
priorities here. But no, I would say, Warren Creval has his own style where, if you look him up, he has his own clothing company. If you're talking about like, yeah, I think there's different kinds of styles. There's the hype beast style. You know what I mean? Like there's just different things that guys are into. But Warren for me would be in terms of like just cool, in terms of how he dresses and what he wears. It looks casual, but you can tell it's thought out. You know what I mean? Which is something that I think I like. I appreciate that. And Bedoya has nice things. Obviously, he dresses pretty well. He's sharp. Harris used to be probably the
Oh,
highest end of stuff. He was always head to toe, looking sharp. Who else? I'm trying to think that comes together.
I feel like Colin comes in looking pretty good.
Colin, yeah, Colin's into clothing. Colin's a
Yeah.
good one too, and he's very he's French, So
Yeah, I mean,
it's
yeah,
all,
except
you
it's
know.
all
except
cut
his
different.
training
It's
shorts.
cut
He does
different, and
that.
it fits.
No,
He
his
does that
training
diaper
shorts are the
thing with
most.
the training shorts.
That's the most French thing about him is his
It's French,
training
yeah.
shorts. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and what a great teammate he is. You talk about a guy that just is awesome with all our young guys, and he speaks 5 languages and just does so much for me on the sidelines, translating, and he can still play for sure, but he's also just like a coach for me on the sidelines. And yeah, he dresses sharp for sure. He has his own. I think he has his own store back in Kansas City. So people should check that out too. But yeah, he's
And it's
he's
funny.
styled in pretty good.
He's one of those guys as a Philly fan, you couldn't stand him.
Oh,
And
of
then when he
course.
came here, you're like, God, I love him.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
And
Yep.
such a great guy too off the
Yeah.
field, like just super approachable, great
Totally.
guy.
Yep. Yeah. So hateable though when he's on the other team. Like Carlos Ruiz was the same way. I despise Carlos Ruiz. Oh my God, I never hated a player more when I played against him. But you meet him and when he's on your team, you love him. He's the best. He'll do anything to win. Collins the same way.
And not to sneak in here, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Amobi Okugo for in terms of best dressed. That guy, he had some style on him.
Okay,
When he would
that's a
come
good
out,
one.
Okugo had some style on him back
That's
in the day. So,
That's a good one. Yeah.
going back in the
Moby's a
vault.
great guy.
Going
Yeah,
back in the vault. But yeah.
that's a good one.
Now we got to get to the hard one. Who can't dress? Who needs the help?
Oh,
Who
I can't
who
be
who,
mean.
who needs us to call the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy crew
Oh,
to help
damn.
him out?
I'm trying to think. Who do they make? I'll just say who they make fun of the most. Uh,
It's gotta be Fontana.
I was gonna say that name, but I didn't know if I
Oh, see,
wanted to.
I'm going Eastern Bloc.
I'm going Fontana. No, I think they dress well. I think it's us Americans that are coming in here looking raggedy. You know,
You've never seen
Yeah,
Casper's
that's
twin
true.
brother.
I haven't. Does he have two of them? Isn't it like the
He
Casper
does.
trio?
There's two brothers. They're all like 6'5",
Right.
gigantic. One's a high jumper. One's another soccer player. Like great genetics for sure in that family.
One's a scientist because one had to be the Cooper Manning of the group and was just like,
Yeah.
nah,
The smart one, yeah.
this ate me.
Yeah. No, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus on the clothes because it'll definitely be a younger guy, and then I'll just feel like a bully.
It's okay, Aronson. You'll
Brendan,
make more
it's
money soon.
fine,
You'll be fine,
man.
buddy.
Look,
I didn't say anything.
a couple Guzan Megs, and then we'll get you some more Freds. That's how it
Guzan
works.
actually was a terrible dresser. I played with Brad. He was a horrible dresser.
He played all those years in Europe and picked up no style.
You would think. I mean, he has money too. But I played with him at Chivas. And he couldn't. Yeah, he was like a t-shirt and sweatpants guy. That
He's
was
so
it.
comfortable in Atlanta now. It's probably just like,
Funny,
yes,
yeah.
my people.
Where hasn't he played? I kept looking at like he's played everywhere, all over the place. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
But
He's got some freaking flyer miles there for sure now, but it's all good.
now we kind of touched on this, but we were gonna. Oh no, Devin, did you just make adjustments on the fly?
On the fly. On the fly.
Unbelievable.
Keep this
wow.
in. Keep this in.
Oh yeah, no, we are. But
Yeah, keep
I was
this.
going to the next one, and I finally follow the bullet points, Jim, and Devin's like editing right before it's back and
The
forth.
beauty
So,
of the Google Doc. This is amazing.
Jeez, oh, this living, breathing document. So we did have it. Well, I had a question for you. I'll take the heat for this,
Oh,
and I
boy.
think you and I actually spoke about it after the Sean Brace event. But who would you prefer to fight in a steel cage match out of the Philadelphia soccer media? And I'll give you. You can throw in anyone you want, but I'm going to say as your options: Tannenwald or Kincaid. And if you've got an honorable mention, you throw them in there. But I'm just curious, like, you deal with those guys day in and day out, and you can hear the contention in the voice sometimes during interviews. So I'm just wondering, who does Jim Curtin want to face off for charity in a steel cage?
Matt
I
DeGeorge.
mean, look. So I would say, look, I think the whole Kevin and me thing got blown up. I think I got to get angry at one point just because it was, I think, a time probably when the team was struggling. Maybe I was in the wrong. I don't know.
Kevin
But,
can do that to you, and I love
yeah,
Kevin, but he
yeah,
can.
so do I. I love Kevin
He
too.
can.
He's fine.
Listen. He pushed Adam's buttons that on a Saturday morning I get angry texts from Adam about something on Kincaid's podcast, and I'm like, now I've got to listen to this thing.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they were just. It was during the dark times, and they were talking about like just the Sons of Ben recent performance after I had literally lost my voice the night before trying to get it going. So
Yeah.
I similarly got a little angry and took exception because I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not killing myself or anything out here. That's fine, guys.
Yeah, and look, Jonathan's a professional. He's a pro. He writes for to get to where he is and how serious he takes his job. And I know different people give him a hard time on different things, but he does genuinely, in his heart of hearts, want the sport of soccer to grow. Women's, men's, he wants it to grow. So I've always had a good relationship with him. If you're really asking me if I had to, which one I would want to fight, I mean, if the question is that, I could beat up both of them at the same time. If that's really the question.
See, I'm not sure. I think
If we're really
JT's got secret ninja skills. I think he would come at you
No,
with
get out
the
of here.
windmill punches.
Jonathan's a lover, man. Jonathan's not a fighter. Jonathan's not a
You just
fighter.
come in here with those rabbit punches. It's just like a hurricane
he's-
down.
He's great. They're both good guys. And again, yeah, if I saw Kevin out at a bar, I'd buy him a beer before I'd gotten a fight with him. That's for sure. But again, if it came down to
Just
it,
to soften
I
him
could,
up.
I could quite easily handle myself with those two if that's what you're bringing to the table.
That's all we wanted to. We're just trying to get to the hard hitting questions here, And it's funny because we've got good relationships with both of those guys.
Yeah.
Kevin's going to be on soon. Once the ratings drop, we'll put Kevin on. But no, JT said he's going to come on. But yeah, we love those guys, but we also like joking with them because,
They're great guys. Yeah,
and we're all in this together.
exactly. They're
It's
on,
funny. It's
on our
like
team.
it's a family where you're going to bicker and fight with your strange cousin, but in the end, you're still friends and family. Now, I Devin, is this my question or is this one of
This
your
is
questions? I guess this
you
is
put this in there, so
this is
I'm
from
not
me, huh?
taking this
Do I
one.
get a Did I have a
Let-
question?
yeah,
I'm
let
going to take
Adam
another
take
hit.
this
Man,
one. Let Adam take this one.
Jim's gonna delete my number
Wait,
pretty
do you
soon.
want me? All right. So wait, which one is this? Is this the blue or the red one? Because there's two
Oh my
indicators on
gosh.
my screen right now. I can't tell which one's which. Ah, it's the blue one. No, it's Matt. Okay. Oh, it has the names in front of it. Okay. Um. So I have to ask, and I know this is a question that has been on many people's minds, Mr. Curtin. And
Uh-oh.
look. This is a safe place. We're a nice place. We like to be a place where you can release. You can let go of things that may have been holding on to. So, are you Union Hulk?
No,
Are
I'm not.
you, sir? Answer the question. Are you Union Hulk?
I wish I was, man, because I wish I was that funny. That dude is hilarious. I have my I there was a period where I actually thought it was Kevin, to be honest. In case. Dude, I've had exchanges with Union Hulk, whoever he is. My other theory on who it might be is uh, Earl Gardner. How about that one? I'm being serious
I asked Earl point blank years
'cause
ago, and he goes just like no, and I hope I never find out because I'll probably be disappointed
Like
if
who
I
would-
find out
yeah,
who it
you-
is. So my
I don't know why.
my
Yeah,
running
go ahead.
theory is it's really Jay Sugarman. And then at the end of all this, like when we win a championship or when he decides he's going to sell the team, it'll be like a Scooby Doo reveal where you
Yeah,
take off the Union Hulk match.
take
It'll
off the
be
mask.
Jay Sugarman there. But that's my theory. But I have no idea really, and I have a lot of exchanges with him too.
Dude, I've had exchanges. I've literally, after games, texted with them about like getting Rico's poppers. You know what I mean? Like dead serious. When I drive by that, I didn't get the Rico's jokes for like the first year until
You drove by
I
Rico.
I drove by and I'm like, oh shit, that's what he's. Oh sorry. Oh shoot, that's what he's talking
No,
about.
you can say
cursed
shit.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the Sons of
okay.
Ben.
We get no money for this, so we're fine.
So the Union Hulk one, no, I mean I wish I knew who that was because they have good content for sure for whoever it is. It's funny. It gives you a laugh, and they kill me every once in a while, which is keeps me on my toes. But it's part of part of the job, I guess.
No, that's the
Do you guys really think it's me? That is hilarious.
look, man. All right, so we've run out of any other suggestions of people.
Okay,
Like
gotcha.
I've got my cork board in the background with all the strings and all the faces
Yeah.
to it. I got my Pepe Sylvia back here. I'm trying to figure it out, but I've
Yeah.
run
We're-
out of it. So it's either you or it's Sugarman. Or it's the one owner who I stole his keys and I gave it back to him eventually. I keep forgetting his name, but he's important too.
I guess that brings us to our next question, which is why does Jim not have a Twitter account? It's obviously because one of these accounts is his, right?
Union
I'm on
Memes
Twitter.
is his account.
Yeah.
Is the one
I
I
have I have a Twitter account. I mean, I think you have to this day and age just to keep track of what's going on in whether it's the transfer market. It's still the latest breaking news. It's a great way to get that. I don't tweet anything, but I do have an account. You keep an eye on different players in the league and what trades are going on and gives you the quickest, most up to date information. But no,
Where can we find you at
I'm
there?
not actively tweeting.
You
can
think
figure it out.
Yeah, but I'd be like,
So you have Twitter now. Is it true that you're going to get a TikTok account and let Casper teach you how to do that?
I'm not doing that. I'm Instagram with like family pictures. That's the extent of my.
Because Casper's
social
been
media.
killing it, man.
he's the Matisse Thybul of the Union, which I've been thoroughly enjoying.
That's funny. Yeah, Casper's great, man. He's a good kid and good player too. Like I mean, I think this year will be big for him in terms of. Yes, he did it last year, but he's capable of even more. He's that talented. I think that highly of him. I haven't seen his TikTok game too much, but he can play, man. He's the real deal. That's a good jersey.
Yeah, it's
Hell of a name spelling, but I don't know about that. But it's
No, that's his jersey.
I know, I know.
Yeah, we got that. We were lucky. I went to Pamplona last year to run with the Bulls, and Mark Evans was like, "Why don't
Why
you
would you
wear?"
do that? By the way, you got to be nuts.
It was my second time, so I think I'm retired. But
You think?
so yeah,
What
I still might
what's
go
the
back.
positive of that? What good can happen?
Listen, I've jumped out of a plane, and the feeling after the Bulls pass you makes that plane feel like you were just on a Delta flight to Ohio.
No, those are
And-
treacherous. What do you mean? They drag you off those suckers.
But yeah, I grabbed one of Casper gave me one of his shirts, and my girlfriend got Aaronson's shirt, so
Nice.
we wore those in Pamplona with all the other people wearing their messy shirts and everything else, and I think it was Mark Evans was hoping I might get gored, and then the Union would get international attention that Casper Shabilko got gored by a bull in Pamplona.
Aw.
Oh god, that's
That's
great.
what we do for clicks. What we do for
Speaking
clicks.
Yeah.
of that, no.
Yeah. Transition.
Yeah, we usually do a little Union Sons of Ben news, but we don't really have any news because of this whole virus
Yeah.
thing. So I don't know if you can leak any news of player signings or anything, if
Yeah.
anything's been going on or that kind of
Rolandinho is
stuff.
coming out of a Panamanian jail to come play
Yeah.
for the Union.
That would be a Union Hulk one. He likes him. I know that.
Right.
No, man. Honestly, there's nothing in terms of player acquisitions or anything right now. It's a quiet time. Like we've all said now, the safety and health of everybody is priority number one for sure. I do stress though that this team is a group that I think the fans are really going to like. I think we had a really good preseason. We're going to have another good little mini preseason before we start again. But it's a group that I think our fans will look. I think a lot of people fell in love with our team from last year, but I think that this one can even do more things. With a lot of the same characters and then a couple new additions. So I wish I had something for you. We're actively looking in league because we do have some roster spots open. You look around the different rosters in the league and you see maybe some guys in the first 2 weeks and first two games that didn't get a lot of minutes that were on our radar prior. There's still phone calls going on for those types of guys. Like I said, we do have some open roster spots, and we have set ourselves up with a good chunk of money to be aggressive in that regard. So we're not the complete team right now. We're not finished. So I think some things will happen. But I think during this whole the coronavirus pandemic, everything is taking a backseat just to health and safety, which is most important right now.
No,
Quick question:
no.
with all this, how does that affect the Corey Burke deal? That he was on loan to what, end of May or something, and now
Yeah,
like is there any conversation with that? Like,
yeah. No, it's a great question. So he'll, more than likely be back once we start again. It doesn't take a genius to figure out we're already at April 1, and realistically we're not playing for the month of April. Like, let's all just be honest on that. I think that's safe to say. When the government is shutting down through the 30th of April, we're not going to be gathering together and for to kick a ball. You know what I mean? I think that would be silly. So timeline wise, in a weird way, it works out where the hope will be that we'll have Corey back once we start again. There's some logistics to the deal that was done in Austria that can get sorted out. But put it this way: when we do when I do the zooms and I do it with the forwards, I'll just say Corey Burke is in the meeting when I'm doing the videos with them. So you can take that how you guys want, but it's great to see his face. And again, another guy that people forget about, just how good he is and how he can score goals and help us. So, and God, what a lovable kid, man. He's just a good person. When you see his smile, it makes you happy. And Corey's good. And in the same regards, a guy like Kai Wagner, who probably had a couple more weeks he was going to miss. He'll be ready to go now once we start back up. Will there be some rust with the ball for sure? But that's going to be everybody. All the players are in the same boat in terms of on the ball stuff right now. So I've stressed really strongly, and I hope you guys can put this part of it in there, like the fitness part of things. Whatever team has their stuff together in terms of coming back physically fit and really taking that serious, we'll have such a competitive advantage when this thing starts up, because we're going to be playing. The commissioner is pretty adamant about playing all 32 games that are left. So it's going to go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and you better be in shape. And we're going to need our whole roster to be in shape too. So puts a real premium on home games. The points that you get in home games are always important. But now our stadium, we have to take 3 points every time we play there, because we're going to be going Saturday, probably on the road on a Wednesday. You might have to play your second group, and when you come back to home on that following Saturday, you have to get those points. So the home crowds will be really, really crucial, and I can't stress to my guys enough right now. Every team's at a disadvantage. Fitness is the one thing that can separate us from the rest, because everybody's going to be struggling with the ball. There's going to take some time for everybody to get used to that again, but you can control how in shape you are, and we have nothing but free time right now, so get in shape.
Adam, he's telling you to get in shape because you got to get
Not
the
you
crowd
guys.
ready.
You guys are
First
good.
off, the
Keep
Adam-
drinking those
Adam's,
beers.
Adam's got to get in shape.
The Adam
Keep
Booth
drinking those yards beers.
off-season.
Those yards beers are good.
They're delicious. No, the Adam Booth off-season capo program has been going fantastically. I just have removed myself from the outside and just do it in my hallway now. But it's fine. We're getting it done. It's we'll be in tip-top shape for when the time comes.
It's got to be just as exhausting as the 90 minutes the players play. The way you guys get after it, it's crazy.
He smells worse than the players.
I know. I tell people I bring 2 jerseys because I sweat through the first one in the first half, and then I put on a second one in the second half.
But even like mentally too, are you just mentally just shot
you're
afterwards?
done.
I'd imagine.
You're done.
Yeah.
And it's like that drive back from Chester back to Center City is like therapy. You don't even really I put on like the Grateful Dead. I kind of just try to
Nice.
calm down, and I'm just like, okay, that was a thing I just did. That was my workout for the weekend. I'm gonna go home and like listen to folk music and go to sleep. I can't. This is tiring.
That's funny. I'm Grateful Dead before the game, and
Yeah.
then on the ride home after when I'm like Jay-Z loud by
Oh, yeah.
myself. That's my favorite part.
Well, no, it
I like
depends
the
on
way back home.
It depends on how
Got it.
good the win is, because it's like
Got
if
it,
it's
I
like
got it.
that game we had against what was that 5-1 game we had, or that 6-1 game against Minnesota. Yeah,
Minnesota,
you're taking
yeah.
everything that you
Yeah.
have. But if it's like one
Gotcha.
of those like 2-1 games where we just sweated out that thing, I'm like, I need to calm down. My adrenaline's
Yeah.
that Atlanta game alone is like, yeah, I need to calm down. I need to breathe.
Oh.
Need some Dead.
I
Need
need
some
to
Grateful Dead. That's good.
breathe.
I
Well,
like it.
while I have you, real quick, because this came up today on social media, and I was kind of like, it was just one of those moments where, because as a Philadelphia fan, we're very used to our teams getting there, but not completely just, sealing the deal. They
course.
had some of the best recent Open Cup matches, and
no.
they had the 14 against Seattle up there. And
Yeah.
to me, that one stings probably
Yeah.
of the 3 the most, because penalty kicks are one thing, and
Yeah.
then when you're on the road, it's another thing. But you think about the Nogueira shot that hit off the post and all that stuff.
I was
It's
going to
like,
say the same thing. Yeah.
like you've been through all 3 of those, and you're a Philadelphian yourself. You know what that's like. When you see that, it's like you can't even watch those anymore, can you? Like,
No, it's a great question. Look, that one was hard. Look, you want to win. That's all you want to do is win the first trophy for the city, and we've had 3 opportunities at it, and they all hurt for different reasons. In that one though, in the Seattle one, when you look back at that game, first of all, it's an amazing game. Both teams, that Seattle team was incredible. I think they brought off the bench. They brought Obafemi Martins, Marco Papa, and the guy, Mexican kid who's their coach now, who played for their World Cup team, Pineda. I think that was an unreal team. I think we brought off the bench. We brought off Pedro Rivera. Antoine, maybe. I think Antoine
Openo came up. Yeah.
Yep.
We were punching above our weight, So
a little bit.
But that was the closest one. I agree with you. Where when the Kansas City one, it was an ugly game, kind of that went to penalty kicks. You could flip a coin, could go either way once it goes to penalties. Houston, we just never we weren't ever in it, But the Seattle one, where we had the momentum, the stadium was incredible. God, that was the black jerseys too, wasn't it? God,
the most
And
crispest Union jerseys of all time.
Yeah, Vincent hit the post. I thought
post.
again, this is this game though. You look at Marco's shot, hits the post in a way and somehow goes in to beat Red Bull. And Vincent's, which is a clear cut shot, looks like it hits the inside of the post and goes out. And you're just going, yeah, that was brutal. That was the closest one though, I think, where I thought that was going to be it. But man, it's what drives you. It's what makes you not sleep at night, but it's also the same thing that keeps you going and wanting to get this group even better the next year and bring that first trophy. But yeah, no man, there's no hiding behind that one. That one hurt. That was a tough one for sure. They're running all these classic games now, and
Yeah.
they put the MLS Cup San Jose versus Chicago, which was like the worst game of my career that I played in. So I'm seeing all the painful ones, man.
Oh no!
I won a few though too as a player, but yeah, the losses hurt.
You're like, play those, show those more often.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, God, I still haven't even watched this game. Like, I'm like usually religious on watching games after when I was a player, and now as a coach, I watch them 10 times. But yeah, I had never watched the 2003 MLS Cup final just because me and my buddy Carlos Bocanegra had a tough day against Landon Donovan. It was a rough one for us, but yeah, I actually sat down and watched it the other night when it was on, and just to prove to my kids that I actually played professional sports. But yeah, the result didn't change. We still lost.
They still don't think you play professional sports.
They're like, no.
Yeah, they're like, you can't even run.
I see those jerseys, Dad. Those don't look real.
Yeah. It was not an HD too. It looked a little different.
Now, Devin, do we have listener
we got a
questions?
lot
Are
of
you ready for that
questions here.
segment?
We got a lot of great questions here.
Hey, Jim,
No.
you got more questions than Seba.
Oh no!
Seb is the man. Seb is one of the the best that I worked with. Again, it's always difficult, when things end, and we did trade him, so I'm sure he hates my guts deep down inside. But
It's not you he
nothing but
hates.
respect.
It's not you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
There's others, but yeah, he accepted it, but no, he didn't have anything bad to say about you, but there was other people. No, he's great, and he loves it here. Loves the team, loves the organization. He knows the business of getting traded and everything. Like he wasn't happy with Seattle that they didn't protect him in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
And he didn't even know what the expansion draft was.
Yeah, there's some horror
So
stories
like
about it.
he
Old
knows
MLS.
he had nothing but nice things to say. But yeah, he was great. But yeah, you got more questions than even Seba did. So
All right.
buckle in, and we'll have Devin fire
Yeah,
them off.
and not even more questions, but like some really great questions here. And we'll start off with Jeff here, and Jim, feel free to go as deep as you want with this one, because this can go all day with this one. But Jeff Mitchell, at Father of Ben on Twitter.
Never heard of him.
I don't know who that guy is, but he asked, "What's your philosophy of coaching youth soccer, and any advice you can give to volunteer coaches? At that level. Obviously we talked about you coaching at that level when you first came to Philadelphia, so." Any advice you can give to coaches at the youth soccer level?
Yeah, I think it's not just the youth level. Well, when you're a young player's first coach, I think your sole job is to have the kids fall in love with the game. That's it. There's nothing more. There's nothing less. The amount of parents now at the really young ages that come up to me and say, what does my kid need to do to become a pro, or what does my kid need to do to get a scholarship? And I look over and I see their kid who's 4 or 5 years old, and like his starting point is, I think he just shit his pants. So let's slow down here, or he still believes in Santa Claus. Like, let's slow this down. So I think that is the starting point. Your job is to have them fall in love with the game, and it's not an easy thing to do. Coaching at that level and at that age is probably the most critical and important time for any player, because you hear the stories now of so many kids falling out of love with sports like baseball because they have a bad coach, or it's too slow, or it's just not they're not involved a lot. So yeah, your job at that level is number one, just getting them to fall in love with the sport. It's not about X's and O's. It's not about one kid becoming a right back at age 5 or 6 years old. Let them play all the different positions. Let them experiment. Let them try new things. It's not about winning trophies at a young age. Well, look, winning is fun for sure, and it does help with development. I'm not saying go out and lose every game 8-0 and just have a good time, but my philosophy is for kids to play all different positions. Try to teach them along the way more about life skills and falling in love with the game over formations and tactics and X's and O's. But I know Jeff. I actually do know Jeff, so I can hit him up offline too on the philosophy.
Yeah, and let me just chirp in because I coached youth sports for Junior Olympics for 15 years and high school, and the reason I quit coaching wasn't because of the players, it's because of the
The
parents.
parents, yeah,
And I just want parents out there to know that your ego and your bragging rights should not revolve around your youth's sports success and failure, because that's what makes these kids fall out of love with sports. It makes
totally.
coaches want to quit just because it gets so intense. You're like, I would purposely coach like a second level team in our club just so I could work with kids and get them better, because I was a late bloomer when I was playing. And if it wasn't for coaches that gave me a shot and then I went on to play, and this was a whole different sport, but if it wasn't for that, I never would have played. I wouldn't have played pro beach volleyball. So because of that, I would like to coach the underdog teams to get those kids to fall in love with the sport. But when I started coaching more advanced teams, the pressure parents would put on you, and I
Yeah,
would look
it's
at them,
crazy.
I'm like, are you nuts? And then they'd go to me like, what does my kid have to do to, like you said, get a scholarship? And I would just look at them and go, well, you got to understand, your kid's fighting a really hard battle against their DNA. And it would take the parent about 5 minutes to understand that I was insulting them. But it was just yeah. So just try to make it fun and stop getting so involved in it and helicoptering over the kids
Yeah,
playing.
and it has a way of sorting itself out too. Again, I look back on some of the youth teams I had and the youth coaches that I had, and I don't think about the games that we won. I think about the friendships that I have. I'm still close with all the kids I played with on my U12 through U16 team. We all still have a text chain, and I'm close with them. Some of them were in my wedding, and it's more about the memories. You learn the life lessons about the game through the game, on and off the field. I think that's more important. And look, if there is a kid that is special, over time it's going to sort itself out. Like this whole idea of just playing soccer and specializing at age 10 and 11, I think you should play whatever sports in season, have fun with it. At a certain point, maybe you do pick one, but that can be down the road through high school and when the time is right. I think right now we're, like you said, the parents can really ruin it. I go out on the sidelines now for even when my kids play, and they're not in the most super competitive teams, but the things that are said on the sidelines from parents, screaming at referees and screaming at kids, it's like it's embarrassing. So again, I think uh, for all the young coaches out there and that are coaching young players, managing the parents is almost a job in itself, and navigating that and just making sure that again that the kids are really falling in love with the sport. That's their number one goal at that point. And that's honestly what kids remember. Kids remember the coaches that kind of loved them the most and showed them the way more than the ones that they won trophies with. It's really just been my experience anyway.
Now, a quick side note before Devin, you get to this question. To everybody on that Jim Curtin youth soccer text chain, you are all invited as our guests to the tailgate. We're gonna want some young Jim Curtin stories, so
Oh
come on
God,
out. We've got plenty of
there's some
beers
bad ones.
flowing.
Oh yeah.
You
There's some
get
bad
in touch with us.
Yards, yards 2SP, and the Latimer will provide. That is for sure.
Careful, there are some heavy hitters in that group.
Bring them in.
You haven't seen Sid.
All right, so
All right, Devin, what else we
yeah,
got?
this next question comes from Coltrane DB34 on Twitter. He basically asks, how does it feel as the Philadelphia Union to basically overachieve next to higher spending teams in larger markets? And this is kind of going back to last year when you're competing with the Atlantas, the NYCFCs, and that market where it's obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that those teams are a little bit different than the Philadelphia Union. But how does it feel to go toe to toe with those teams in those markets?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that when you do talk about culture, when I talk with my players, and we talk about our fans, I think having the same attitude. It's just that we respect everybody, but we don't fear anyone. That has to be your mindset. And I tell them, Zlatan's not walking through these doors. He's not going to come in here and be on our team and be the guy that scores us goals when we all have a crappy day. So from that standpoint, we're a true team in that every guy has to be good on the day or else we're not going to win. And that's the reality of it. We're a real team in that regard. And that can be powerful, because once you do have some success and they have buy-in on that, you saw us play against, LAFC. You saw us play against Atlanta and beat them. So again, the game is unique in that, yes, superstars, can have a moment of brilliance and score a goal and win you a game. But over the course of 34, I still believe the most beautiful thing about soccer is that the 11 on the same page can beat any group of stars. And look, I get it, man. Look, sometimes the Philly fans want, well, where's our star? We want that guy. We want to have that guy too. Can it be both? And again, I think in time, I hope as we continue to have success, that guy does get dropped in onto what is already a really good group. But sometimes those one guys can ruin the 11 that I talk about, and I think you saw that a little bit with LA this year, like, again, yeah, they had some great games and some good wins, but sometimes one ego and one personality can kind of dampen the rest of the group a little bit. So look, I'm kind of towing the line there, but no, that's certainly something that we know going into a season. We're asked to punch above our weight. I think our fans like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit in our DNA as a city, and our guys, embrace it, and it's fun. It's fun to find weaknesses in really good teams and different ways to exploit them. And our players deserve all the credit for going toe to toe and being brave and not being scared. I think as recently as the LAFC game, guys, I won't sugarcoat it. Their center midfielder at Tuesta, he's probably not the one most people talk about. Everybody talks about Vela because he scores the goals, but Atuesta is going to get sold. I'm not joking. He's going to get sold for $20 million soon. Like in the world of soccer, that's like what his value is. The kid Rossi is 19 years old as a winger for them. He's going to get sold for double figures in the millions. And our guys, look, I thought played them even. It could. Did they have chances? For sure, of course. In their building, it's a crazy place. It's a tough atmosphere. So we love those kind of challenges. I think they're great tests for us. And again, in this whole thing, we ultimately have to take the final step, like Adam talked about, and win the trophy and beat them in one of these big type games in a playoff or in a final when it really, really matters. And I know it's taken longer than people had hoped, but it's been a slower type of build through the academy, through the youth academy, and you're starting to see though in the last 5 years we've improved each season, and last year now being the one where we can all look back and whether you like me or don't like me or like the players or don't like the players, you can't argue that it wasn't a good year, and it wasn't a good product that was on the field. So we have to back it up now with another one of those years, but it's certainly a challenge that punching above our weight, fighting against these top tier big spending teams. We love that, and then we embrace it.
Of course, yeah. We got a couple of funny questions here, and maybe we'll wrap things up here. But so we'll switch gears a little bit here.
Funny.
But Matt G wants to know which player on the current roster.
Wow, who's that?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but he wants to know which player on the current roster would you most likely be to quarantine with.
Oh man, what? Just you're saying like live with on my?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
trapped with this player. Who on the current roster could you be quarantined with and not kill them?
First of all, none of them want to be with the coach. That's for sure.
That's not the question.
It's just film
Yeah.
session all day long.
No, yeah, exactly. Who could I hang out with the most? Oh man, the easy answer is Ali Bedoya because he's just the captain. he's closer in age to me. If you stick me with a 16-year-old, it's not going to go too well. A 17-year-old, there's not a lot in common. I feel like I could maybe show them some things, show them the ropes a little bit. But yeah, I'd probably prefer a guy closer to my age. And
Gotcha.
yeah, Bedoya would be a good one. Just stick with the captain.
Yeah.
Keep it easy.
All right. Well, here's probably my favorite question of this bunch here. So this is from Ricky Rondo on Twitter. He said, if you had the option to sub on one Elsinio-sized duck or 100 duck-sized Elsinos to win a game, who would you choose?
I like that. I got to think about that. One senior size. First of all, he's the best. He's the best player. I won't even say sub, because it's like an insult to him. I feel like, and every day, every week, I have to look at him and say, "Yeah, man, you're not starting this week." In my brain, I'm looking at him going, "And you're our best player."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's as a coach, it's so. It's a conundrum, I'm contradicting myself because he's so talented and so unbelievably
We need to bring back the high
gifted.
school rules where you just sub everyone off every
In
2
and out. Yeah,
Just
that
on
would
and
be
off
nice.
subs,
Re-entry. Yeah. But no, he's embraced the role of coming off the bench. He wants to start. Don't get me wrong. He's a pro, so he always wants to start. But talk about a guy who can change a game. But I'll just take what was it? What was my options?
One
Elsinio
Elsinio-sized duck or 100. Wait, what was it?
Duck
Hold on.
size.
Duck-sized
Elsinos.
Elsinos. Yeah.
Yes,
So
one Elsinio size
Duck's
duck.
not doing me any. Duck does me no good, so I'll take the little Elsinos for sure.
The little Elsinio.
all right.
I do appreciate that low key that you'll be the one person in a press conference during like the halftime and they'll just be like, "So coach, any adjustments, anything about happening?" "Yeah, Elsinio's coming on about 5 minutes. Like, he's gonna be on the 65th minute. We're probably gonna get like
63rd
yeah,
minute. Wait for that.
Wait for
Yeah,
that.
this
He's
isn't
coming."
hard. Don't make it about me. It's him for
Yeah,
sure.
it's just
That
like-
changes the
It's like,
game.
please, he's coming. I don't know. You know
Yeah.
he's coming. They know he's coming. He's
Yeah.
coming.
Exactly. God, they hate it too. The best is when you hear the other coaches. They're like, look down, like, really? God. And then the tired. The worst is like the left back's usually tired at that point, and then it's just like you can see the visual eye roll. Like, shit, here we go.
I feel like you just need to like turn to like the Red Bulls and just shrug and be like, "My bad.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry.
I apologize for the following." And it's just there you go.
Yeah, he's filthy.
All right, Matt. I feel like you want to take this last question here.
Well, Jim, I got this question over a text first thing this morning from my father. And then I think he followed up and called me to make sure I got it right.
Okay.
So he just wants to know how much time you think you need days wise to get the squad back in game shape. So say
It's a good
tomorrow
good question.
Don Garber goes,
Yeah.
May 30th we go. How much time do you think you need to get these guys on the ball and ready again?
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's one that's going on a daily basis. We're talking about it now. I'm in the head coaches committee. There's about 8 of us on there that kind of speak up to the higher ups at the league that make these decisions and kind of give at least our perspective. And to be fair to them, and the owners have really improved. So in a good way, it won't be this instant. Okay, we're back training, and it's going to be 1 week, and we're going to just train for a week and we're going to play. Because if you do that, you're going to have injuries. And the assets that are on the field now, the amount of money the guys are making, that is not a good way to go, to have your best players injured right away. I think perfect world, you would need minimum 2.5 weeks. 3 weeks would be plenty. But they're at least, the higher ups at the league are at least talking in that time frame, if not actually longer, which was a pleasant surprise, to be honest. I know people want to hear that we're just going to jump right back in, but ideally, perfect world, we'll be training in a kind of, I won't say in a mini kind of quarantined way. Like we're safe, and the precautions are set up, and there's testing and different things like that that'll happen, and we'll be hopefully able to get that process going. And then, when the all clear is done, we'll at least have had, to answer the question, I'd say 2.5 weeks you'd need at a minimum to at least get them back up to speed again physically before you not feel like you're risking injury. And I know people want to hear it be quicker than that, but they also don't want their stars and all the top players injured. So yeah, it's an unfortunate give take.
The correct
That's a great
answer
question.
was tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want.
The
Trust me.
correct answer is
I'm bored, man.
they're in
I'm
Wayne
bored.
right now, locked down at the YSC, basically in training right now as we speak.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Well, hey, Devin, that's it for
all I
listener
got.
questions and
That's all I
everything,
got.
right?
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much for coming to this train wreck, and hopefully we'll get you when we're back in the secret studio where we can feed you and have some beers.
I'd love to come down anytime, guys. Yeah, and look, again, stay safe. You know, I know it's crazy times for everybody. You know, and again, to all the fans out there, this is going to be a fun year. I know we want it right now, we want it tomorrow, but at the same time, we have to do what's best for the players' safety and health. And again, we look forward to that first game because I know it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. And again, it's a tough time right now, but stay with us and stay safe and healthy. Thank you guys for having me. Awesome. It was a fun time.
Hey, thanks a lot
Appreciate it.
again, and yeah, everybody stay safe out there and keep washing your hands.
Yeah, that's
Wash
right.
your hands, everyone.
Buy local.
Buy local.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I bet one thing that does come from this, man. Everybody, I hope, is like hyper local in terms of like supporting the local businesses and stuff. Because, man, it's rough. I walk down South Street and it is like every storefront is thanks for the memories. It's kind of done, you know. Like, man, it's sad.
They're prepared for this
It's
to be
really sad.
you know, and it's
Yeah,
it's real.
like not coming back. Yeah, it's tough, man.
Have you gotten to hit Fiore in your neighborhood?
I have not. That's close. It's literally. I live across the street from where Royal Izakaya is, the sushi place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On Second Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live across the street from there. But Fiore is literally my backyard. Like, that's on front. Yeah, that's right around the corner. I haven't got there yet though. There's so many good spots, man. It's
Go.
yeah.
Go. They
Okay.
are so, and it's an all day cafe, so breakfast is good, it's a husband wife or live in partner chef wife team, and the pastry chef, she's best friends with the pastry chef from Zahav,
Oh,
and that's one of
Zahav's
the
great,
reasons she moved. The Zahav chef, the pastry chef, she's won the James Beard Award.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just incredible. And then she moved from LA to come back to work with these two and to be closer to her friend who works at Sahav. So they're just killing it all over the place. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you get a chance, I would
awesome.
buy something there. I highly recommend it.
Check
There
that one
it is.
out. Yeah, we always walk by it. Yeah, but haven't stopped in.
Yeah, stop in. Trust me. If you don't like it, Adam will buy your meal for you.
Nah, that sounds good, man.
hey,
All right,
he
guys.
still owes me a Sixers game, so we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
That's
I do.
true. Yeah, you're supposed to go to a Sixers game with Adam.
I would love to. That'd be great.
We'll get it in when 2025 when we come back to basketball.
Yeah, once the league's back going.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
All
Thanks,
right,
man.
thanks.
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
a lot.
You're good. Have a good night.